Good morning, everybody. Hope you are well and welcome to my allotment. Today, I just thought I'd take you on a bit of a plot tour around my allotment here in February and just see how it's progressing. I'm going to try and do this on a monthly basis. Now, I've been on this allotment for about 7 years now. And I got to say, I love every minute of it. It's a great hobby, and I love the fact that we get some of this fresh, healthy food from here all the time. So let's get started with this walk around. So I thought I'd start with the very top of my allotment, which is coming together quite nicely. It's a little bit of a mess at the moment, but we can soon sort that out. At the very top, the fruit bushes, I've been laying a load of cardboard underneath all those bushes to try and suppress the weeds, and it's working really nicely. It does look incredibly ugly though, I've got to say, and I think I'm going to have to throw some straw on top just to disguise the cardboard. But as a way of suppressing weeds, it is working really well and giving me the opportunity to really try and tackle particularly the couch grass that is a problem here, especially in that very top part of my allotment. Now the garlic and onions, these metal corrugated beds to the side of me here, they're performing quite well. The garlic is up and really growing quite well. I've got some more garlic to go in at some point this month. The very top bed where the onions, the hugelkultur bed, that's also doing really well. Again, the onions seem to be performing quite well. We've got to find the right type of fertiliser to add to those. Grow more is what I usually use, so I'm trying to figure out things for that. The middle bed, I've actually just extended it. It was a slight bit smaller than the other two beds, so I've just made that a little bit bigger. But we still have last year's brassicas, Brussels sprouts and purple sprouting broccoli. In fact, I've just harvested the last of the Brussels sprouts today. So those 3 beds are doing very well. The 3 beds that we've built this month, or during January, or 2 of them were built during January I should say, they're going to be the brassica beds. I've lifted up the weed suppressing membrane that I used on the paths. I've decided I'm going to let the paths just go to being grass paths, just by letting them grow. But I've used weed suppressing membrane. I've already added lime to these beds, but just again to suppress those weeds for the time being, and I think it'll work quite nicely. And then over that side, I mentioned before about building 2 new beds. I think that's what we're going to be doing over there now. The decision has came in, and it seems to make sense to build new beds. New compost bin as well as going in. That's, you know, it looks a mess at the moment, but I think throughout March, this bed, this half of the allotment is really going to not need much work apart from building those beds, so that's something to look forward to. So let's head on down to the bottom half of the plot. So this is the bottom half of the plot, and again, yeah, I know it's looking a little bit messy. I don't mind that at the moment because it's not quite the time for it to really kick in. But the 6 main beds, these 3 here are going to be potatoes this year, which go in during March. So I've just covered those over with weed suppressor membrane. I've knocked down all the field beans and everything, but I've just covered those up for the time being so that it suppressing the weeds again. That'll then come March we can plant the potatoes in there, and they should be pretty good to go by that point. Also the black membrane is going to help just warm that compost and soil up for me, which should in theory make things a little bit easier. These 3 beds down this side are going to be the beans and peas, so I've just been running through with a hoe quite regularly on these beds, just keeping them a little bit tidier. The apple tree is doing fine so far. It's still standing, so I'm happy with that. All I've got to do now on these edges particularly is run around and give them a bit of a tidy up. I want to talk about the greenhouses next, so come this way. So 2 greenhouses, as you can see. This one, Grandad's greenhouse as I call it, has been here for a while. Over the last few weeks we've had a few broken planes of glass, which I've got to replace at some point pretty soon, so that greenhouse is going to be up and working. I think that's going to be either tomatoes or cucumbers, probably tomatoes grown in this one, but at the moment not overly worried because I've just got to get the glass in. I've got spare glass in the shed, so that's not going to be too much of a problem. Now this greenhouse is the one that I added last year, and I've actually started again putting the glass into place. Unfortunately, a lot of the glass did get broken in transportation, and it's a weird sized glass. So what I'm trying to figure out is whether, well, I'm trying to find some of the replacement glass. I tend to try and get my my greenhouse glass for that one off Facebook Marketplace when they give it away. But this one has been slightly difficult because of the different sizes involved. They're almost, I can't remember the sizes off the top of my head, but they're quite a bit bigger. And that means that it's going to cost quite a bit of money to get the glass cut, but that may have to happen. So, but yeah, the greenhouses is going to be pretty much done fairly soon. I might put a hotbed inside this greenhouse as well as a way of heating it and keeping things going. I'm not quite sure yet. Now, I mentioned earlier the edges on the allotment need a bit of tidying up. Down in this corner and behind these greenhouses are two areas that are in desperate need, and that's what I'm really going to be concentrating on over the next few weeks. It's a case of digging up some of these cherry trees that have arrived. I've mentioned this before. Dig out some of the blackberries, clear out the weeds, place stuff down to suppress any weeds and the usual sort of thing. And then over at Scruffy Corner, as I call it, which is very apt at the moment, it's very, very messy. The compost bins are completely disintegrating. They need coming out, and I've collected a load of rubbish from the sheds, etc, etc. That's got to go to the tip, which that's saying or nothing. But as I said earlier, we're going to build new compost bins, and I think once the new compost bin is built, that's then going to make our life a little bit easier to move on with this allotment. So yeah, it is now going on. Well, that is the tour for my allotment here in February, now up to date. I'm going to try and do this on a monthly basis so you can keep seeing the progress. Of course, I'll be making videos throughout the year as well, sharing the progress that is going on this allotment as we make it a fantastic place to grow lots more food. So please do subscribe to keep seeing the changes, and yeah, don't forget to check out the Veg Grower podcast as well. Now let me know in the comments what tasks you're planning to do throughout these next few weeks on your allotment as well. Right, you take care. I'll see you again next time.